I think that we take something away from every person that we interview. McCayleigh's written and she's published her own novel. I'm in the process of.
Welcome to the show, McCayleigh Daniels and Haley Rogers.
Hi, we're so happy to be here.
It's great to have you. So, how did you two initially meet?
Book club.
Yeah, book club.
We have a local book club. We're from Texas. We are from College Station, Texas, home of Texas A&M. Well, not from, but that's where we ended up meeting, and that's where our book club took place. So we met there and immediately hit it off. We made jokes all the time, like, oh my God, are we the same person?
Right.
But yeah, we just had so much in common. Like, I think we both knew we were like, oh, we just want to be friends. Like, let's just keep doing something together and be closer. And this is like what it turned into, a podcast.
Yeah. And so then I actually moved over the last summer. I moved about 7 hours away. And for us to kind of like stay connected to one another, we just kept bouncing ideas off of one another. What do we want to do? We want to do something in the book world, whether that's opening some type of publishing house for books. And then McCayleigh one day ended up saying, why don't we just start a book podcast? We already talk about books all day long. Why don't we just talk about it and spread the word of books to everyone else?
Spread the word. Let everyone know. Books are awesome.
I can agree with that. And I think there's something, I was going to ask how the podcast started, but you've answered that for me. Would you say there's something special about books which just connected you to in a way that no other medium could?
Like, in terms of, is there like something specific about books? Is that what you mean? That like just kind of drew us together, or?
Yeah, so like in terms of your friendship, would you say it was something about books?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think every foundation of a friendship, you, for one, need to have something in common. And for us, it became books. But because we always had books to lean on and talk about and turn to, we were able to branch off and discuss other things like how's your life, how's school, and then we find more common ground in those other conversations. But when you're talking to someone and things get a little weird, you're like, okay, what do we talk about now? I know nothing about this person. Well, for us, it was books. And so when you have like a connection like that with someone and you have a common interest like that, it's always something you can turn to or talk about. And eventually those conversations become bigger and more personal and greater, which I think it wasn't until after Haley moved away that I feel like we really became super close, because we did schedule a podcast and talk about books. And if you go and listen to the podcast, most of it is like
us just talking,
banter back and forth, just conversation about our lives, like outside of books. And then we'll like, okay, maybe we should get to the point. Let's talk about books now.
We're like, why are we here again? Oh yeah, we need to talk about this book.
Like, oh yeah, we've been recording for 30 minutes. Maybe we should get to the point. So good thing there's a lot of editing involved, but that's essentially what it turns into.
Yes.
I know what you mean with the editing. It's like, oh, great. So how did you come up with the name Two Chicks and a Plot Twist? I really like it, by the way, but
thank you.
Where did that come from?
We had a list created of just 20 probably different names, and Two Chicks and a Plot Twist was on there. And so how we came about just figuring out which one to pick, we made a poll and just had other people vote on it, and whichever one won. And so it was Two Chicks and a Plot Twist. So
yeah, other people kind of decided, but before that we ran a different poll with a different name for the podcast. I can't even remember what it was, but we did our research after our name was chosen by the people, and it was already a podcast. Like, it was already a name that had been taken. So we were like, maybe we should have done our research before creating a poll and then deciding on this name. So we scratched that entirely, ran a new poll with a new set of options, and Two Chicks and a Plot Twist won. And we get compliments on it all the time. Like, I'll go to book markets and things, and I have a vendor booth there, and everyone who comes up, especially the moms are like, oh, that's the cutest thing I've ever seen, like the cutest name I've ever heard. I'm like, thank you. The people chose.
Yeah, they had people vote.
Yes, the people voted.
It's truly a democracy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's it like to interview some of your favorite authors and some of your favorite people behind the books you read? because it must be kind of sort of a whiplash. I've had it a bit with my own podcast where I've interviewed people who, voice actors in particular, where they've voiced some of the characters from my favorite shows or games growing up. But in your case, you're interviewing the very people who write the very stuff you read.
So our very first episode that we did, it was with an author named Evie Woods, and she is like this international best-selling author. And we read her book, and we had so many questions just about her writing process, how she got her book published, and just questions about the characters as well, and how she created the storyline. And so it's really interesting to kind of pick the minds of all these authors from books that we actually read. And we get to ask them all the burning questions that I'm sure tons of people want to know also. Questions like, why did this character do this? How did you set up this timeline for your book, and things like that?
Yeah, we think it's just so cool that we get to interview so many different authors, and each one has a different process.
Yeah.
And it's so unique to see because, yeah, we all get the same result. It's a book, it's a story, but everyone has a different way of getting there. Like whether people like to outline their whole story first or they just write. We just interviewed a couple who they wrote a book together. And I mean, you just learn so much. And on top of authors, like we have interviewed a bookstore owner and
An
a
editor,
ghostwriter.
ghostwriter,
Yeah, all these different professions within the book world. It's so unique to get like these fresh perspectives from people in the book industry. And I think our listeners appreciate that because our listeners are bookworms.
Yeah.
So everyone has been a little curious about opening their own bookstore or writing their own book. So I really think that helps us also with our audience because we like to connect with them in different ways. So there you have it.
I did see your episode with the Thornberries, and I thought, quite an interesting take. But I suppose in your case, you're getting more. Would you say it's fair to, you're saying about the ghostwriter and the different other professions, that you're getting more of an education of the book industry through those?
Oh yeah,
absolutely, without a doubt. Now we learn something new every time we talk to someone, and I mean, yeah, a lot of the time their advice will overlap, but I mean, hey, you have the same advice because you've heard it before and it works. And to see what people are taking like into consideration and keep doing, like I do think that's people learn from other people. And and I mean, it's just a path to success that people create, and some things work for some people create their own, and that's when we are like, oh, that's interesting, like everything else. But yeah, definitely educational all the time. There's never not a time we don't learn something new, and every time we interview someone we're just like, you know, taken aback, whatever it is, at least once in whatever interview. We're always like, that's really
I think that we take something away from every person that we interview. McCayleigh's written and she's published her own novel. I'm in the process of writing my... Oh my goodness!
You
are so awesome.
Oh my goodness.
It literally turns up an hour ago.
Oh, that is amazing. Thank you for your support. I love it.
But yeah, so McCayleigh's written hers. I'm in the process of writing mine. And when we talk to these different authors and editors, ghostwriters, I'm taking something away that I can put into my own writing, into doing my own writing process and things like that.
I was going to ask about that dynamic because, like you said, McCayleigh's the author and Haley, I think it's fair to say you're the upcoming author. How does that dynamic kind of work? Because you've got the one person who is the author and the one who's aspiring, is the fair way to say it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's any kind of competition or anything.
Right.
I mean, if anything, I'm glad that I struggled and figured it out on my own because I'm so happy. Like, if Haley has any questions down the road, I will be there. Like, girl, don't do that, do this. Like, here's a pamphlet. Let me create one for you, and then you don't have to go around asking strangers on the internet how to do something. But, I mean, it's really nice, too, just because we understand the writing process. She's doing it right now. I've already done it. And I mean, there's no butting heads about it. But yeah, we're on the same page. Like I said, when I said we're the same person, different bodies, like it's actually I mean it.
Our names rhyme. We kind of look alike. People compare our lives to
Yeah.
the same. So I'm just like, I guess we're the same person.
I
at
know,
this
yeah,
point.
exactly.
But like with my writing, McCayleigh's read pretty much everything that I've written so far, and I've gotten to read her second novel, and so we kind of bounce ideas off of one another, and we try to give each other good critiques and things that we would change, like what we would do differently, what something needs to be added, and things like that.
Right.
So it's really nice to have McCayleigh here who's already done it, so I can just be like, what do you think I should do here? Does this
Right.
sound right, or does this sound totally stupid? Like, let me know what you think.
Yeah, and Haley is someone like me writing my next novel, and I know she feels the same way. I'd much rather hear critiques from her before I get it out to the public, because people in the
Yeah.
public, like reviews, ratings, they are mean, okay?
Yeah.
They will give you the 1-star review and say all their thoughts, you know, like negative, whatever. But I'd rather hear that, and I will be perfectly fine hearing that from Haley first, because
Than
she
just a stranger.
I
on
know
the
she
internet.
wants
Yeah.
the best for me and my book, and vice versa. Like, I will take that advice first because she wants me to apply it to my book and make it better, versus us just like throwing it out to the wolves and being,
Yeah.
you know, demolished. So
Right.
we have each other's backs in every way, but being the author and the upcoming author, that really doesn't have much to play in the podcast world, just because we're so knowledgeable about it anyways.
Yeah.
No, that's a fair point, because you get some people who, like, you could take any profession and they're better off being coaches than the person who actually does the thing, because they're so knowledgeable. I think, yeah, I didn't quite consider that.
Right. And I mean, she is getting her degree in like English, right? Isn't it English, Haley? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's like, it's got language words, you know? I did
Language
not. Language words. I did not do that. So, like, she's already knowledgeable in that sense, anyways. And I mean, I just jumped into it blind. So, we're on different paths, but I mean, they're aligning.
Yeah.
Speaking of aligning paths, do you two think you'll end up in the same place together with the journey you're on, or do you think
I
that-
want to.
Yeah. I'd love to.
I tell her all the time, like, being here, like, come back and be with me physically, you know, like, I miss you so much. But I mean, I would be happy to be on the same page in every way with Haley, even if we're far apart, like in terms of, you
Yeah.
know, careers or anything. I'm like, let's do it together, please.
Yeah. I'm like, whatever it is, let's do it together. Yeah. But I mean, in the physical aspect of being there for one another, of course, I'd want to be there with McCayleigh. But even if I'm not, it feels like we're in the same place just because we're talking every day.
Mhm.
We're video chatting at the end of the week. We're always, just throughout the day, honestly, we talk to each other so many times throughout the day. It feels like I'm there.
Yeah, our text message, they don't even start with hello or hey. It's just, do you think da 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 da, or hey da 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 da. Like, you don't say hey or hello. It's just, hey, I'm continuing our conversation because it's been so
Yeah.
frequent.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sounds like a really long podcast between the pair of you. You decided to go, you know what, let's make our own.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, honestly.
What have been some of your favorite books to talk about on the podcast? 'Cause
Oh my God.
I know some of them. It's like On the Glass. How do you say it? It's
ACOTAR.
ACOTAR,
That's
thank
the
you.
acronym. Yeah, she
Those
has
are
it
right
right there on
behind
her
me.
shelf.
Wait,
Throne of Glass is up here. That's ACOTAR.
Wait, what's ACOTAR short for then?
A Court of Thorns and Roses. That's the first book, that red one. It's just an acronym for like the whole series. And I've got Harry Potter up here. I'm just showing all my books. This is my Harry Potter collection. I've got so many different like editions of it. And McCayleigh's reading the series for the first time ever. I've read this series probably 10 times. And I'm so glad that McCayleigh's finally reading it.
It'll just be one more thing for us to talk about. So
Yeah.
I'm sure Haley is very excited for that podcast
Yes.
episode. It will be a very long one.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Speaking of books and the ones you like, which books would you say people should read, but they're not well known? So for me, it's the Shaka McKeown series. I'm waiting for the final paperback to come out by Yahtzee Croshaw. I think that was a bit underrated. It's sci-fi, but along those lines, which books would you say people go?
I think that McCayleigh and I read a lot of super popular fantasy books right now just because that's trending. As far as books that no one really talks about that much. There is this author named Mary E. Pearson. She's probably one of my all-time favorite fantasy authors. She's such a good writer. And she has this uh, series. It's called The Kiss of Deception, and it's like a 3-book series. And it is so good. I never see anyone talk about it. Let me just get it off my shelf so I can show y'all. This is the first book in the series. It's actually, the series itself is called The Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson. It is just like a stunning book, and just the story itself is just written so well. But yes, everyone should read this. McCayleigh needs to read this. Everyone should read it. It's so good. But it's like a YA fantasy book series. So good.
Yeah, I feel like I read so many mainstream books. And my reading journey, it just started a year and a half ago. So just last year, I did read a lot, but they were all mainstream books, like very in the media. But if I had to give everyone an answer, read my book, Isle of Beasts and Shadows.
Yep.
Promotional content right here. But yes.
And once this episode comes out, Isle of Lies and Legends will be available. Well, it is available when this comes out, so yay. I personally prefer the title for the second one, but that's just...
Oh, yay. That's awesome. No, it's definitely like villain origin story. And I will say I hate the acronyms for my books because... I cannot shorten
for this one.
Isle of Beasts and Shadows is IBS, which stands for Irritable Bowel Syndrome. And then Isle of Lies and Legends is just ill, like you're sick, ill. So I'm like, okay, I'm just not having any luck. I did not take acronyms into consideration. So I got to be careful when I'm trying to like market and shorten the series names. So. But yeah.
I mean, if you chuck the O and the A in, then you go away with the ill part.
I guess so. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But wouldn't that actually be someone's name just slightly butchered?
It would, yeah.
Speaking of ill, to use your own acronym, why have you decided to write a novella instead of full-blown novel this time around?
Since this is going to be a prequel, I didn't feel like we needed a very long story about what's happened, because we've already met all of these characters in the Isle of Beasts and Shadows book, which is the first book in the series. So we're taking it back. We meet our villain in the first book. I just want everyone to know that she was human too. She's, relatable and, is getting, I don't know, I can't say much, but she gets hit punch after punch, like metaphorical punch. And I mean, it does dark things to a person. And especially when your mental health is just not good in a good place to begin with, and you can only take so much. And then in Isle of Beasts and Shadows, we meet Emmeline and Zol, and these are two characters who have this love story. Yeah,
I'll say it's my favorite.
Like, we have little flashbacks of them, but I wanted the novella to include their love story, just quick overview, just like a roadmap that leads into all of the events happening in this, in this current series, current time, which would be the first book in the series, which is Isle of Beasts and Shadows. So I think the prequel is just a good, quick overview, everything that you may need to know or needed answers for. That's what the prequel is. I was like tiptoeing around words, trying to like not do spoilers there, but yes.
I think I read the prequel before Beasts and Shadows.
Right. However you want to read it. I mean, if you want to be like surprised, I say read Isle of Beasts and Shadows, but you absolutely don't have to. You can read it either way.
No, it's just a personal preference for me, because I remember when I was 18, I went to see Solo in the cinema with my dad, and because Star Wars had been out for so long, stupidly I decided it was a good idea to read the reviews before watching the film. But no, but that's actually, I'm kind of ironically glad I did, because there was a line, which is a review which has always stuck with me, which was, they said, the problem with Solo is we know which of the characters are going to live, so it just turns into a game. It just turns into a game of, well, which of the B-lists are going to die? I'm thinking,
okay.
So I've always gone in, when it comes to prequels, with the attitude of, Five Nights at Freddy's is a great example. The second one's technically a prequel, but if I was never going to do this, but if I start with the second one, then play the first, because technically the first comes
Right.
off. Yeah, you see where this is going. So
I do. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
yeah, so I've still got the suspense in the second book and the prequel without going, well, I know who's going to live, so.
That is a very good point. I didn't look at it like that, but now that you say that, I'm like, wait a second, maybe I should like be telling people differently. Like, wait, no, actually, just your own preference. I don't recommend anything. That is a really good point. I like that point.
Haley, do you want to talk a bit about the book you're writing?
Okay.
Like, don't mind if I do.
I have not finished my first draft yet. I am probably about 40% of the way into writing my first draft. I've still got quite a bit to go. I'm planning it out to be a young adult fantasy duology. So there's going to be 2 books have been planned out, like in my mind so far. It is about, I'm trying to think of how I can say without spoiling. It's about like there's this different type of magic that's in this world, and it's considered like weaving magic, so people can weave magic into like clothing articles for like, I don't know what to say. I don't know. They
She
can
hasn't practiced yet.
I know I haven't like gotten my thing down yet, but yeah, there's these weavers who have this sort of magic that can imbue their magic into certain articles of clothing for the kingdom that they're in, and all of the royalty in the kingdom sort of covet their magic, and they enslave them all and force all of the weavers to make clothing for like bad purposes and purposes for war and destruction. And it follows this young woman as she tries to escape being enslaved and then sort of find her own powers and try and see what she can do to help all of her friends and everyone else that have been enslaved. That's a lot, I know, but I haven't gotten like my summary down yet.
That was good. It was good.
I'm trying.
Is it just going to be a story about a bunch of magic weavers then?
No, there's a bunch of different aspects, and there's going to be aspects of like the found family trope, which is similar to just also finding your own self, which the woman who I'm writing, she's just a young woman, probably around my age, and just finding out who she is. Even though she has these powers, she needs to figure out who she is actually deep down. Just rather than having these powers, she is this human being also. There's going to be a tad of romance in there. It is young adult, so don't expect anything spicy coming from it. Nothing like that.
Right.
But yeah.
Alright, then I guess when can people expect to see it come out?
So I'm a student right now. I am actually about to graduate next week. And so this summer, I am really hoping to put more effort into my writing and just solely focus on that. And while I'm doing that, I'm still going to be working full time. So I am hoping to have my first full draft done by the end of the summer. I am hoping. And then editing, I know is going to take me a while. I would love to go a traditional publishing route. So that can take a very long time to try and find a publisher, going through publishing houses and going through the publishing market itself. It is a cutthroat world in the publishing market, trying to find an agent who will actually take you on and then try and sell your book to these publishing houses. If that doesn't work, I may give myself like 6 months to a year trying to do that. If it doesn't work, I will just self-publish. And McCayleigh will help me do that, of course. But it is a long time coming. I honestly would not expect anything, honestly, for maybe a year and a half. This is like my baby. It's taking everything in me not to focus on that right now. But like, again, I am doing my finals for school. I graduate next week. I am working full time right now. So whatever spare time I have at the moment, I am focusing on that book, and I will have much more time this summer. But I just want to make it perfect, and hopefully it comes out, through the way that I want it to. But if it doesn't, there's always that self-publishing route, which I mean, so many people do it that way. So we will just see.
Speaking of full time, I know you said this, Haley, where you want to do your podcast full time.
Yeah,
Do you
that
intend
is
to-
a dream.
How would you go about doing that?
So McCayleigh actually sent a really interesting YouTube video last night, and it was about how the Walt Disney, the creator of Disney and things like that, he created this sort of roadmap. And in the center, he had what he wanted, which was to create Disneyland, to create Disney World. Aside from that, there's all these different parts of his roadmap, which is like TV and music and movies and all the clothing lines and all this stuff. And so McCayleigh said, we really need to sit down and make the time to do this for Two Chicks and a Plot Twist. I know that there's so many people out there that do podcasting full time. That is a dream. I love to talk about books. I would love to do it full time. I would love to just be an author and do that as well full time and just make a living off of that. But right now we've got the podcast, we've got clothing line, we've got merch out right now, we've got all these different social media aspects going into it as well, with its mine and then McCayleigh's and then the Two Chicks and Plot Twist on its own. So hopefully down the line we are able to do this full time and make money off of it. We are slowly starting to make money off of it. We had our first sponsor, which was just like crazy. I'm so happy.
What can we expect to see from you two next if that's your endeavor?
Well, hopefully a
God.
lot.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going anywhere. I mean, in June, we are going to take like a quick little break just because I'm going on my honeymoon. So we're going to be off for a month. We're going to rerun our most popular episodes that streamed the best over the first season. But yeah, we hope to expand our merch line and do more giveaways. We want to get into live streaming. So live streaming our episodes and get audience participation, because that's what our listeners want. And we get messages and DMs and comments and, oh, I want to be featured and interviewed and all these things. Well, with a live stream, which hopefully is our next thing we're going to hop onto, I would love to see us get all that participation from those listeners and everything, because everyone wants to feel involved and important in some way, and listeners are important. So like, yeah, let's have them talk. Let's have an opportunity to get to know our audience even better. So right now we're working on learning our audience and building up ways we can be more involved with them, because ultimately at the end of the day, we wouldn't have a podcast without our listeners.
Right.
It would just be us talking, you know, without any recording equipment. So that's our primary focus, is letting them jump on board and being part of all this bookish madness.
We definitely want to be more prevalent in the book community. Right now, you know, we've got social media. We also have a Facebook group as well that we have people in there that we talk to. But we just want to get out there more, whether that's just doing what we're doing now with you and sort of collabing on different podcasts. We just want to get our faces out there. We want to get our name out there. We want people to come join us, because I think that we have a really fun, special platform about books. And we are so fun to talk to and listen to as well. So
one last question. You two can answer this separately. If you could have anyone you'd like on the podcast, who would it be and why?
We already know.
Same person, Sarah J. Maas. We actually just did an interview with Bookstore. They are one of the biggest platforms for the book community, and they got to actually interview us, which was so cool. And one of their questions actually was, if you could interview anyone, who would it be? And we both agreed, Sarah J. Maas, which she is such a huge name in the fantasy world. She's the one that wrote ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, Crescent City, everything like that. She would be really fun to kind of sit down and pick her mind and ask her all the burning questions that the whole book world has. We want to know when her next book is coming out, of course.
Yes, and if not Sarah J. Maas, I would say Rebecca Yarros. She's been in the book world for a minute too. She just got into fantasy writing, so Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm, which everyone broke into Target to get this Onyx Storm book recently. Just craziness, crazy stuff. That, like, I don't think there's been such a big uproar in the book community since Harry Potter was releasing books. And like, when I don't know which Harry Potter book released, but there are lines out the door early morning, hours before the stores opened, wanting to get these books or special editions of books. So
me with my special edition.
I know, yeah. I drove through ice and snow to get to Target, you know, to get to my book, whatever. I'm like, okay, I will do anything for a book. I will risk my life. So yeah, or her. But ultimately, I think our number one, Sarah J. Maas,
Sarah
just
J.
because.
Maas.
McCayleigh Daniels, Haley Rogers, where can people find you too? Because you've got the Two Chicks and a Plot Twist podcast, social media, but you've also got individual social media handles as well.
So for me, I have a Bookstagram. I try posting there every 2 days, just book content all around. It's at Haley's.books. We also have a Facebook page. You can find it on Facebook. It's all things book related. We post book content in there all day too. And then, like you said, we've got that Two Chicks. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, whatever. It's just at Two Chicks and a Plot Twist. We will be there, and you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you stream your podcasts.
And you can just follow me on Instagram at McCayleigh Daniels, and mine's also a little bit of book stuff, but predominantly about Isla Beasts and Shadows and everything I'm doing as an author. And then, of course, Two Chicks and a Plot Twist updates. I'm also audiobook narrator. I do that. I try to market myself that way too. But yeah, Two Chicks and a Plot Twist. That's all our handle is everywhere. You can find us and our link tree. It'll have everything you need. So it's all on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, wherever you get your social media.
Make sure to follow us.
Yes.
Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed my first episode where I featured 2 guests on the podcast at the same time, and if you want more episodes featuring other authors, then I have Kevin L. Michelle and Timothy J. McBride right here and here. I'll see you there.